Good evening, you guys. This is Dustin DeBoer with Solid Rock Life and Family Coaching once again, and I am so excited to be able to share with you tonight the 5 Love Languages Daily Devotional on effective apologies. Not only will I share with you the devotional on apologies, but then I also found something that is very interesting to me within the aspect of an apology deals a lot with attitude. And John Maxwell has another book, The Difference Maker, and I've been reading through that, and it's all about your attitude. And I found something in there that I will also apply at the end of the devotional for effective apologies. So far this week, we have actually talked about deciding to change. We talked about how it starts and how forgiveness is not just something you say, but is something you do. In that process, there's communication in many facets. Now, couples, can you not say that is the case? What illustrations can you come up with from just the last 2 days of all the communication challenges that might be out there? Well, does it even take 2 days sometimes to have that long of conflict? After all, it didn't take long way back when to seem to not communicate correctly either. The book of life, God's word, in Genesis talks about the communication struggles that the first couple had, but it doesn't really say how long it took to not communicate correctly. Spouses don't always communicate correctly now either. But we can avoid the communication issues that Adam did. But what did Adam do that we can avoid doing and should have apologized to Eve for? We don't know if he really apologized to Eve or not. But it seems like if he wanted to fill her love tank after all of this happened, he might have apologized. But what were the errors that he made? Well, number one, according to John Maxwell in the Maxwell Study Bible, Adam made these errors. Number one, he ignored some of the details that he was truly supposed to actually communicate. Number two, he allowed Eve's voice to influence him more than God's voice. Number three, he failed to hold himself accountable for his communication. Number four, he forgot what God had said about the consequences of disobedience. Number five, he did not take responsibility for his faulty communication. When it comes right down to it, do we just communicate with our spouse the information we need to, or do we connect? Are we aware of the details that we are to communicate and connect with? Are we listening to God's voice more than our mate's voice? Are we holding ourselves accountable for what we do actually communicate? Are we aware of the consequences of disobedience for not listening to God? And how will we take the responsibility then to lead our family so that our mate knows that we are following God, which is our ultimate responsibility? Suffice it to say, these are hard-hitting questions that each of us needs to answer when it comes to effective apologies. Proverbs 28:13 states, "People who conceal their sins will not prosper. But if they confess and turn from them, they will receive mercy." I love this verse in many ways. It speaks a lot of truth. I have to apply this in my own world and not speak in terms of games, antics, and whatever else would be synonyms for such words. I must confess when I do and turn from them. Otherwise, I will not prosper. Because I believe in truly prospering, I then have to confess and turn from them at the heart level before anything else. To do this, I must be willing to truly change my behavior. And this verse makes it clear that when we don't admit our wrongs, whether towards God or towards our spouse, we can't expect good results. But when we do admit and or confess the hurtful things that we do and make plans to stop doing them or turn from them, forgiveness is possible. God says a couple will receive mercy because God is faithful. Gary Chapman goes on to say, I remember Joel, whose wife, Joyce, was extremely negative. No matter what Joel said, Joyce disagreed with him. In the counseling session, Dr. Gary Chapman discovered that Joyce saw everything as either good or bad, right or wrong. Thus, if she disagreed with Joel, it couldn't be just a difference of opinion. His idea must be wrong. It took a while, but eventually Joyce apologized for her negative attitude and came up with a plan to change it. She learned to say, "That is interesting the way you look at it," or "I can appreciate that." She learned to share her ideas as opinions rather than as dogma. She learned to say, "My perception of that is..." Joel freely forgave Joyce when he saw her genuinely trying to change. Effective apologies can truly save a marriage relationship. The prayer that Dr. Gary Chapman gives with it is, God, it is hard to admit my own wrong pattern, but I know I hurt my spouse in the same way over and over and over and over and over, and over again. You get the point. Please, Lord, give me the courage to confess those wrongs and turn from them. And when my loved one does the same, help me to be gracious and forgive. Now let me return to a verse that I referenced earlier. Lamentations 3:22-23, which says, "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." When it comes to doing apologies genuinely, it is all in our attitude and our motive. You could do that whole thing correctly in the sense of doing it, but if the attitude is off, the apology is out the back door. Therefore, we need to also consider the attitude behind that apology. In helping other people in faith, family, and freedom so they can be a real success on the stage of life that matters most, their front door, attitude is the third part of real. I'll be spending some time on that later this year, come July, August, and September, and I'll be talking about it in relationship to marriage, father-daughter relationships, and mother-son relationships. Let me just say this in relationship to any problem, though, no matter who is involved in it. When one apologizes, they must be seeing that there is a problem and that it can be totally solved. If you don't see it that way, why are you even apologizing? Additionally, when you are apologizing, you must see this as something that is temporary and not something that is permanent. To see an apology as valid, you must also see that the problems are part of life. We all have problems. If you really think that problems are not a part of normal life and that they cannot be solved, then why are you even apologizing again? Problems make us better, not bitter. Now, that's a whole other element of how you become a better person or a bitter person because of how you actually look at things. Problems do indeed challenge us, but they do not need to control us. I have heard it said before that if you are just going from fire to fire to fire to keep putting out fires, something isn't right in your life. Don't let your problems, addictions, issues, or other things control you. Learn to stretch to meet your problem rather than to let it stop you. God is faithful, and his steadfast love never ceases. His mercies never come to an end, and they are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I am so thankful that when it comes to attitude around relational problems, that we can take a step back and actually think more realistically about the problems. Novelist John Galsworthy observed that idealism increases in direct proportion to the distance from the problem. John Maxwell in The Difference Maker goes on to say that by standing back either literally or figuratively, you can often get a better perspective on a problem. And that better perspective will not only help you feel better about it, but it will also help you solve it more easily. Making genuine apologies actually starts with the heart and what motivates the heart. Yes, problems cause pain, but how you look at them will either help you live with hope or deplete it. If you see them the right way and work through them in a healthy manner, you will prosper. If you don't work through them in a manner that is right, you simply won't prosper. The Lord is faithful and will forgive you. He will help you in any marital or relationship struggle. He is merciful and his faithfulness is great, and he promises that there is therefore no condemnation to those who turn from their sins and hold to his standards. It's not that there won't be problems, but that you'll see them in a totally different way, which is probably the way you should actually see them. Your attitude makes all the difference when it comes to effective apologies. If you want help with that, let me know. If you are looking for ways to grow and become who you are truly meant to be and to reach your full potential, sign up for the 15 Invaluable Laws Mastermind. If you are looking to discuss how you can further change your world and have a values-based discussion, sign up for that event. It's on my Facebook page as well. And these are just two of the ways that I am seeking to help people this month. If you would like to have me come and speak to your organization about family values and family unit as it relates to being a real success, go ahead and check out my John Maxwell team site, which is in the description in this video. If you are interested in any of the family well-being products I have available, check out that website too. That's also in the product description below. You will find the links exactly. They're right down there below the description, in the description. I sign off with, if I can help you and help other people excel in faith, family, and freedom so that you can be a real success on the stage of life that matters most, your front door or their front door, I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, feel free and post them back to this video and I'll reach out to you. Talk to you later. Have a great one, you guys. Bye-bye.